Hello and welcome to Action News. I'm Justin Chenette, and here's what's making headlines. On Tuesday, President Obama delivered his first primetime address from the Oval Office. The topic? The worst environmental disaster in our nation's history, the BP oil spill in the Gulf. With estimates of between 30 and 60,000 barrels, or 2.5 million gallons of oil a day spilling into the Gulf and subsequently onto the beaches and marshes of the southern coastal communities, people want answers and reassurances. On that same accord, polls show over 52% of Americans disapprove of the president's handling of the oil spill. As a result, the president tried to lay out what he has done, is doing, and will do when it comes to the crisis and the future energy of America. The one approach I will not accept is inaction, says President Obama. To view his full speech, visit whitehouse.gov. In President Obama's address, he also mentioned how China is leading the pack when it comes to investing in green technology. A report has just been released stating that that's not the only thing China is keen to invest in. Try our nation's debt. China recently added over $5 billion in their holdings of our national debt, totaling now over $900 billion we owe them as a country. Better get your grandchildren's checkbooks out and start writing now. A federal law is poised to create an incentive for unemployed workers not to seek part-time jobs. Those incentives are major cuts in unemployment benefits if you take on a temporary job. A local unemployment office told a woman in Boston that had been unemployed but found a part-time job that as long as you don't make more than the money we tell you, your benefits won't be affected. The bill could go into vote in Congress this week. Based on the latest data coming from the census, around 7,200 students drop out of high school every day, which equates to around 1.3 million young people a year. A little under 70% of students who start high school graduate 4 years later on the national scale. But those numbers tend to be significantly shifted when the focus is on a particular region of the country. For example, when 83% of students in New Jersey graduate every year, only 41% of Nevada students do. More data is being collected on the matter that will hopefully send a clear message to politicians that our education system needs some major reform. The death toll rose this week for U.S. service members in Afghanistan. A roadside bomb killed 2 U.S. troops on the job, adding to the total number this month to 30. A powerful 7.0 magnitude earthquake shook Indonesia on Wednesday. The result? The death of at least 3 people and the triggering of landslides and demolishing dozens of homes. Iran's president, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, said this week he will soon announce new conditions with talks with the West. And that sounds good, right? Well, first he wants to punish world powers for imposing sanctions on Tehran and force them to, quote-unquote, sit at the negotiating table like a polite child and talk to the Iranian state. We'll see how this goes over with Secretary Clinton, who has taken a firm stance with the Middle Eastern state. Meanwhile, tensions in the North Korean peninsula have gone from bad to worse as North Korea threatens military action if the United Nations Security Council even tries to criticize North Korea over the sinking of a South Korean vessel. Both North and South Korea laid out their statements before the world's representatives on Monday. If war breaks out, the U.S. will be undoubtedly in the center of its third war, as we have Iraq and Afghanistan still going on, and over 30,000 troops still stationed along the South and North Korean border, meaning our troops will be on the front lines. The Arizona state legislature is making headlines once again for another controversial bill, this time aiming to deny children of illegal immigrants who are born in the country from obtaining birth certificates and citizenship. According to the U.S. Constitution, anyone born here is made a citizen, but Arizona state legislators are arguing that illegal immigrants weren't on the minds of our founding fathers when the language was drafted. The matter is poised to be taken up sometime this fall. On a local note, the Coast Guard spotted 2 12-foot-long sharks 1 to 2 miles off the coast of York Beach last weekend. Some say they saw sharks up to 25 feet long, but officials reassure us, don't be alarmed. Yeah, okay. Mike Sullivan of the York Parks and Recreation said, quote, "This is the Atlantic Ocean, and there are sharks out there, and they're off the coast in Maine, but they're just typically a lot farther out. The beach will be open as long as there are no more sightings." And let's hope that's the case. At the box office, it was the battle of the 80s remakes as The Karate Kid and The A-Team returned. The Karate Kid kicked its way to the top spot with $55 million, while The A-Team was a distant second with $25 million for its opening. Now, the long-awaited Toy Story 3 debuts this coming weekend. Summit Entertainment has just announced what has been long speculated. The last book of the highly successful Twilight series will be released as a 2-film part, which is also in the case in the Harry Potter series. The 2 Breaking Dawn films will be directed by Bill Condon, the musical mind behind Dreamgirls. The films are set to debut in both 2011 and 2012, respectively. Your iTunes top 5 song list is as follows. At number 5, we have Billionaire by Travis McCoy. At number 4, Cooler Than Me by Mike Posner. At number 3, Airplanes by B.O.B. And at number 2, Oh My Gosh by Usher. And the number 1 spot on your iTunes top 5 list is California Girls by Katy Perry. In other music news, Carrie Underwood took home the coveted Video of the Year for Cowboy Casanova and Performance of the Year for Temporary Home at the CMT Awards. That about wraps it up for us today. Make sure you watch the latest episode of Political Pulse, where we discuss and analyze the results of the June primary election. Next week, the topic will turn to the oil spill and what is the political fallout in particular for the Democrats, and including our Commander-in-Chief. Can anyone say Sarah Palin? Thanks for watching Action News. I'm Justin Schnepp. If you'd like to see clips from the show and more information on some of my other media-related projects, visit my website at www.justinschnepp.com. See you right back here next time.